All right, I have a couple people still joining, and for those of you attending late, I'll be letting you in. My name is Michael Hirschenberg. We are with Playbook by the Pros. My partner Kelly Cook out of Phoenix, Arizona market. He's one of the top luxury agents and brokers out of Phoenix, going on almost 20 years in the business, and so excited to be able to do this with him. I know that he's traveling right now, so he'll try to possibly jump in if he can, to say a few words. But if not, I wanted to kind of take the moment to introduce a really good friend, not only a close mentor of mine, but another just leader in this industry here in North Texas, my good friend Jay Marks. We kind of came from both came from the same cloth in the industry in a couple different, areas here in DFW, and linked up almost about 7 or 8 years ago, and have been pretty close friends since then. Jay, you want to say a few words to welcome yourself on, and we'll go from there, bud.
Thank you, Michael. I'm glad to be here. And one of the things that I say to Michael often is how proud I am of him and how excited I am for his success. And so it's been a lot of fun to be your friend, first of all,
Thank you,
and
Jay.
just kind of watch you continue to crush it.
Hey man, I really appreciate that. So kind of want to just go into a little bit on Playbook by the Pros, give you kind of a little bit of background. So we share this content through our socials, through our email campaigns, but also through our agents on our teams, with kind of giving them not only a few tactics to use in the industry now, and what the real estate industry is providing now, and the challenges that come with the real estate industry. You've seen challenges on the ground. I've seen challenges on the ground. We've both been creative and tactful to pivot in different areas and put our focus on different areas to stay more profitable, keep deals from coming in and stop bleeding, and essentially continue to pivot and move forward as leaders in this industry.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the basis for the conversation on what are some challenges that you see right now in the market, what are the opportunities in the market, and what are some ways to really pivot and win in this market right now. Things that you're doing, things that are practical, things that you're able to get in and start your day and build really positive habits as you start your day. But again, I'd love to hear some of your things that you're seeing in the market right now, from challenges, and how you're responding to them.
So, okay, it's a great question. I've got 4 or 5 answers, so I'm just going to go at it. Number one is the first thing I would like to tell everyone is you need to create a winning schedule and live by it, and do not get off of it. Tom Ferry says if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. And matter of fact, and I'll find a way to stick this in the chat in a minute. He put out a fantastic 15-minute video today on living a really good schedule. Tom Ferry did, and I was quite impressed with it. A great reminder of the basics. One of the things that Tom said this morning that I thought was helpful, it said, if I were to grab your phone and look at your calendar, what would I see? And are you committed to your calendar once you've set it there? So that's number one. And I've always told people that regardless of the market, and by the way, I'm entering my 31st year in real estate.
Wow, man.
And so I've seen a couple of different economies, and I've sold real estate under 5 US presidents. No matter what the economy is doing, no matter what's happening, people still need to buy and sell a home. They need a place to live. And so I often tell people, whether everyday people are born, they die, they get married, they get divorced, they get transferred, they get promoted, they decide to downsize, a kid graduates, or a kid moves in, or they have a baby, or there's all kinds of reasons why people need housing. And no matter the economy, those reasons still exist. The question is, if it's a scary economy or a bad economy, or if it's a tough time, are you going to be the one they ask to help them? Because you've demonstrated that you're knowledgeable, that you are the person in the marketplace that could be most trusted with their transaction. So how can you get that message out?
Sure. No, I think that's right. Something is always changing, and you don't know what's happening in that person's life. You don't know what their real estate cycle is. So essentially, there's always an opportunity to reach out to them and keep your habit of staying in front of them and letting them know that you're in the business still.
Yeah. No, I think it's really, really important to do that. Another thing I was just thinking about, I remember being scared a couple different times in my career and being worried, oh my gosh, what's going to happen?
Mhm.
I don't recall ever being scared about me personally, but sometimes I find myself subscribing to the doom and gloom and to the worry out there versus subscribing to the opportunity and subscribing to the joy and excitement that exists even in a bad time. There's
Mhm,
still opportunity. And so I think the real trick is to how to kind of keep your head in the game and keep
mhm.
your headspace clear.
Sure, sure. I know that we can save it for later on in the series. You can talk about it now. You know, you and I have both come from seasons in our life where there was a lot of uncertainty, but where we both kind of faced something where we woke up that day and said, "Oh my God, what's happening? I need to reevaluate my life." Yours was a lot more recent than mine, but I'd love to have you share about it if you have a moment on it.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So on January 9th of this year, I had an allergic reaction at work. And we're still working. What's today? February 6th? Yeah, so it's been almost a month. And I've had a lot of doctor's appointments and series, or matter of fact, they just started a new series of tests on me yesterday, trying to figure out what is going on. But I went into full anaphylactic shock, and it started out. I was conducting. Let me back up one step.
Go for it.
So the very first of the year, my director of marketing for 11 years gave notice that she wanted to open her own company. And we're so excited for her. By the way, her name is Carrie Lambert, Media Bloom Social. If you want to go follow her, she's really, really good at social media. And so that was like, oh man, I'm losing one of my longest serving employees. So I needed to replace her. And so on this day, on January 9th, I was conducting an interview with the candidate that I wanted to replace her with. And in the middle of the job interview, I got interrupted by another associate that said that there's a photocopier technician in my office. Said, "Hey, can you come help him with some internet access real quick?" So I ran over there, and he had just sprayed on some cologne before he came over. And the ingredient in his cologne was something I'm highly allergic to, and I wasn't aware of it. About 10 minutes after I'd shaken his hand, I started to break out and this, and that, the other. So the lady I was interviewing said, something doesn't look right with you. Are you feeling okay? And we made the decision I needed to head down the street to the clinic, maybe get a steroid shot or something. And I didn't make it. I got halfway down the road and I started having trouble breathing.
Oh my gosh.
So I called my wife. I said, I'm going to the hospital instead. 20 minutes after arrival, they called a rapid response on me and I was being intubated. And I spent 3 days in the ICU on a ventilator. And so I literally went from conducting a job interview to 35 minutes later being bagged in the
Oh,
ER, and they're doing life-saving measures on me. And I woke up 2 days later, and it was, and then I woke up later the next day, and I had no idea where I was, had no idea how I got there. It was crazy, but all over a handshake and someone wearing some cologne could just wipe me out like that. And so I had two major losses within a week. Number one, my one of my longest serving employees wanted to go do something different. So okay, good. I have to pivot there. And then number two, I almost lost my life. And
yeah.
since then, I've had a couple of medical issues that have illuminated to me that life is short and life is
It is.
precious
It is.
and you need to take full advantage of your opportunities. So, what the number one lesson I've learned from this, Michael, is to wake up every day on my knees, thanking my Father in heaven for my blessings, for my opportunities, for my second chance, if you will, and not waste the day. And I think my message of all this is don't waste your day, don't waste anything you're doing. Be completely purposeful in all
Yeah.
you do.
I mean, I leave it. I leave it all on the call. I mean, even down to the simple activity of calling for that appointment, that listing appointment that you've been going after for weeks,
Mhm.
and they finally answer the phone. Like I leave it all on the table for them, no matter what's going on. I
Yeah,
don't sit there and get bummed out if they say no, we're not interested. It's off to the next call.
yeah.
Life is too precious, and there's too much opportunity out there to sit there and stress and worry. Hey, I know that it's that's a lot easier said than done. But I do admire that about you, Jay.
Thank you.
You are a leader in that world, and you leave it on the table everything that you do.
Yeah, well, that you have to. I want to tell you a story, and I hear this a lot. Now, what I'm about to share with you is not meant to be boasting. It's meant to illustrate a principle. So I just wanted to quantify that real quick.
Sure.
So last night I was told by a client, she goes, "You're not like the other realtors I've worked with in the past. I've sold a lot of homes. I've never seen a realtor like you." And I hear that a lot. I live by a personal belief of the phrase, you matter. And I want to know, how can I make a true difference in this person's life? This particular case, we're going above and beyond with some home prep and some coordinating. And it frankly has required me to do a few extra trips to their house than I may normally do. But I've done it with a glad heart. I've done it with enthusiasm. I've done it with a spirit of caring and service. And I didn't say anything about it. I just did it. But she paused yesterday and said, I've never met a realtor like you before. The cool part was, at the end, she says, I'm going to need more business cards. I want to tell all my friends about you. And I made a raving fan out of her just by putting her needs first. And so the thing that I want to do, that had it gone wrong on January 9th, and had I not made it, my goal at my funeral is to have the place packed with people lining up to tell my family that I made a difference in her life somehow. And by having that attitude, I think it conveys through your professional life, and
Mm.
people pick up on it that you're genuine and you're real. And anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you. You got to make other people feel like they are truly the center of your work.
Yeah, no, I mean that goes a long way for sure. So you've never you've always had this since I've known you, anyways. You've always had this stewardship mentality and really being the best steward that you can in whatever activity you're doing. This kind of goes back a long way before I met you. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your background. If I believe it correctly, you were a rescue parachuter,
I was a
Army commander, Rambo. You had a machete on your back. I mean, go into detail about that and how you kind of got into the business, what you've seen in the business, and
Yeah. So right there, that's my favorite unit I was ever in. That's the 82nd Airborne Division. I was a paratrooper in the Army, and I was an artilleryman. So I shot cannons, Michael.
from the
And
helicopter.
yeah, I jumped out of airplanes too, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we blew
Mhm.
up things. So it was a lot of fun. I was an artilleryman in the Army for 10 years. I started in the 82nd Airborne, jumping out of planes, and I finished my career at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, training new recruits. So I got a chance to mentor slash scream at people. So that was a lot of fun, getting paid to yell at people all day.
Yeah,
And then just transitioned perfectly into real estate, yelling at people.
sure.
But I decided I wanted to be an air traffic controller, and I wanted to get out of the service, but I didn't have a college degree. So I had to go get educated, had to find a way to pay for it. So I started noticing around town that the yards of some of the houses for sale didn't look that nice, and some of them needed painted and fixed up, and not really knowing how it worked. I put together a little brochure, and I went to all the real estate companies in town, said, hey, I'd like to work for you. I'll paint houses, I'll mow yards. I'm paying my way through college so I could become an air traffic controller. This is hilarious. You ready?
Hmm.
I went to, I'm going to name the franchises. I'll name one of them. So I went to several franchises. I ended up at the number one franchise in town. It was a Remax office in Lawton, Oklahoma. And I love the people there. And he quickly met me, shook my hand, thanked me, and told me that, just put your cards over here. We get landscapers like you all the time. I'll let the agents know. Just kind of dismissed me, kind of almost like I'm a dime a dozen. I'm like, huh, that was interesting. I went down, I found another little boutique agency, and she just happened to need a yard mowed that day. And I got paid $20 to go mow a yard and did a really good job. Went back to collect my $20, and I did a little presentation on why I thought my services would work. And she said, I've never had anyone give a presentation on mowing yards before.
I love
You ought
that.
to be a real estate agent. So she put me through real estate school.
Okay.
I was in the Army, so I was selling real estate part time. And here's the cool part. During that first year, from October 93 to October 94, I sold 25 homes part time, working 2 hours a night and weekends by appointment. And you remember that broker that dismissed me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he recruited me to his office, and I became a Remax agent about a year later. It
Wow.
was really kind of fun that all of a sudden I was of interest to him. And I ended
Okay.
up being in the top 10 Remax agents in Oklahoma during that time, which is really
Cool.
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 So, had a really powerful start.
That was back in the 90s. So I mean, interest rates were probably, there were probably a couple high
Yeah.
spikes in interest rates back in the day. So you've seen
Yeah, we
this
were
interest
nine,
game
ten
before.
percent interest is no big deal. It's like just cruising
Yeah.
right along. When it got down to 8%, we're excited we'd lock them in.
Oh yeah. Lock time.
Thing I learned is I learned that, I didn't have a cell phone my first year in the business. I had a pager and a
Mhm.
bag of quarters, and I didn't have a computer for my first 2 years in the business. So yeah, it could be
Well,
done.
I love the tactics. So kind of going back, you did something there. You did something that is very personal and very uniquely identified to you in that moment with the lawn mowing example. I'm doing two today. I'm going to be picking up trash on the side of the road for a billionaire client and some land that he has. But I drove by the other day and I said, what in the world is going on with all this trash backed up against these trees? This is a $8 million listing.
Yeah.
Let me go out and not even get a team out there. Let me go got on Amazon, got the pickup sticks with the
Yep.
bags, and I'm going to take pictures of before and after and say like, dude, I got this done for you. That's why you're keeping me on board until we, get this property sold together.
Right.
But I love the fact that that's something that you did outside the box. You went down to the basics to identify yourself as a good steward. And, at that time, you brought some real value to that owner. Is that a tactic that you continue to use? I know it's probably changed since then, but being uniquely yourself.
So every day,
Yeah.
I'm always looking for opportunities how I can help someone, but mostly my clients know that now that we're working together, I'm your person you call, and I'm going to help coordinate that for you. Even post closing, my phone consistently rings to people saying, "Hey, I need. Do you know someone who does? Yes, I do. Let me make that phone call for you. Let me get that done for you." And
Yeah.
I'll shoot a text, introduce them. I just did that today with someone that needed a CPA.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think that's the right thing to do. Can I tell you a fun story? I grew up.
Yeah.
My dad owned gas stations, and
Another question.
I used to go to his office and wait. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. Let's go home. I'm ready to go home. And we'd be walking out the door a little bit after 5. The phone would ring, and he would answer it. And I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? We're closed. And he goes, but they need something. And my dad was often late getting home, and he was seen around town helping someone. And it's just kind of in my DNA, I suppose. But I think if you take that approach in a really bad real estate market, let's circle back around to your very first question. How do you
Mhm.
survive a bad real estate market? Go serve somebody. How do
Yeah.
you manage in a bad real estate market? Ask for the business. If
Mhm.
you're waiting for business to come to you now, you are going to get washed away. You
Yeah.
need to be out there leading every single day, demonstrating to people that you are their best option,
Yeah.
and ask them if they can work with you.
Yeah. And I've just started, learning that, kind of just taking that to the next level. I used to get bent out of shape. It would mess me up for a couple days when I was, going after a big lead on the buy side or the sell side. And they would come to me and give me, just something out of left field and say, "Hey, I appreciate everything you've done. Love your pricing and all of that. And this makes a lot of sense. I'm going to give you a yes." And then they come back the next day and give me what if I think my wife has a second or third cousin. We think we're going to go a different way. Sorry, we're not even going to give you the opportunity, even though you're the best option for us in your market at this price point. We know you can get the win for us, but we're going to go to the second cousin Sally and let her, take the torch.
This Sunday, I was at church, and I know a family. When I'm at church, I don't push real estate because I'm at church for a reason.
Sure.
But there is a lady speaking to 3 or 4 of her friends, and she goes, "Jay, I just want to tell you we're so sorry." And the other lady goes, "You're not using Jay to sell your house?" She goes, "No, my husband wants to get a deal." And I said, "Oh, he's gonna get a deal, all right." She goes, "Well, just so you know, I think you're the best agent for the job." I was like, "Thank you, but you know how my husband is." And I wished her well, but
Yeah.
you know what? He wants to go a different route, and it used to bother me too, Michael, but now I was like, okay,
Yeah.
it'll be fine. But the cool part was, what did she say right there in front of her friends? "We know you're the best."
Ah,
And then the other lady's like, "Well, then why aren't you using him? What's the deal?" I thought that was funny. And since I've had my incident January 9th, I'm choosing to laugh at things more. You know,
that's good. Good way
I
to look
always
at it.
have
For
been
sure.
kind of a fun guy, I guess, but I'm not going to get mad about things like that. I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah.
Next. Yeah, my favorite word is next. I've got
Yeah.
another word that starts with something and ends with you, but I try not to use that so much, but sometimes it's just appropriate.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's again, who can I serve next? That's kind of
Yeah,
something that I look at.
yeah,
Like, where's the next best opportunity? If you're going to put me on the sideline and give me a maybe, great. I put my best foot forward, and I gotta move to the next person on the call.
That's true.
And
And if you haven't put your best foot forward, then you need to improve, you know? As long as
absolutely.
you've done your best, then fine, because not everybody likes it. Not everyone likes the same things, and it's okay, you know?
Okay, so going back to that, we come from one of the same coaching arms when we met. All those years ago. You're still with Tom Ferry and one of his coaching clients. I learned a lot from the Tom Ferry model, and I learned habits. I learned very, very good habits on going back and making repetitive habits on how to be the best on the phone and how to overcome something time and time and time again. How to make things on the fly whenever a customer is giving me some type of objection, whether it's on the buy or sell side. What are some habits that you do? And I want to go into habits, and I kind of wrote that down before we jumped on the call. So personal habits that are kind of gearing you up to be the very, very best version of yourself that day before you get on the call or before you speak to that customer that day. But then also habits that you are tracking, going down to scripting and role playing and kind of knowing your numbers in your market, to kind of let you be the best when you're on the call with somebody.
Well, thank you, Michael. So personal wise, I've got a morning routine that's actually quite fun. I love theater. I love music. I love to pray.
Yeah.
So I normally start my day with some good prayer, and then I sing every morning. So that's just something I do for me. That's kind of my outlet. I also love going on a good brisk walk, just kind of get the head clear.
Yeah.
And then we spend some time upstairs. And now, as you could tell, I'm not in the most best shape, but I'm fixing that. So I've tweaked a little my health habits recently, and we're getting back into exercising at a higher level. So that I feel much better now that I've started that.
Cool.
But business habits wise, we track our appointments. We track our appointments set, appointments gone on, and contracts written. We
Yeah.
track that, and we know that right now that after I make 42 phone calls, I get an appointment. I know that after 27, um, at 42 phone calls, I get an appointment.
Yeah.
That's my number one metric. And the second one is 27 phone calls to a sale.
Okay.
Uh, when I am on my actual calls on a regular basis, the number gets a little smaller.
Yep.
But just like every human out there, sometimes I slack off and I go, you know what, I haven't made my calls in a couple days like I should. So one of the things that we're recently reformatting, and by the way, it's okay to fail, it's okay to start over, it's okay to erase everything and start fresh, is I have made my mornings more sacred and more protected so that I can make time for my calls and make the calls as important as an appointment, which is something Tom teaches as well.
Sure. Sure. Cool. That's all. Those are all good nuggets. Thank you for that. Something that I wanted to kind of in line with habits. Tom goes into, really kind of, talking about your database really as your data bank. He says that in a lot of different things that he kind of goes and talks about. These center of influence, friends, family, past clients, people that are in your circle that haven't engaged in real estate in a year or two doesn't mean they're a bad lead. Doesn't mean that they're not worth the phone call to see how they are doing, to see if they have freedom for lunch, and let them know what the market is doing. Right? You're their best resource for anything real estate related or finance related and investment related, right? So for some of us, the real estate, our real estate, our first piece of real estate, whether it's our homestead or an investment that we have, it's one of the largest investments that any of us will ever make. And so, knowing how that asset is appreciating at a given time in that area is crucial. You do a really good job at staying in front of your database. Are there any, tips, tricks, tactics that you're using right now? Uh,
Yes.
Go for it.
Oh, that excites
All
me.
ears.
Um, my database, I call it my CIA database. I want to know everything about my people. And I'm really glad you asked that because I'm putting in the chat right now a link to my favorite book in the whole world called Mr. Schmooze. This book has a funny title, and I'm not trying to be schmoozy. That word can also have a negative connotation, like, oh, okay, nice schmooze. But this is a business storybook, and I think if you're on this call today, you need to buy this book. It is one of the best business storybooks I've ever written. It's written from the perspective of a summer intern that got a chance to intern with one of the top salespeople at a marketing agency. The
Awesome.
whole idea behind it is to know everything you can about the people you're meeting with, and meet their needs at that level too. For example, if you met with someone and you knew their son was a baseball player, like, and that's one of the examples in the book, you
Mhm.
would ask, so, hey, tell me, how's Johnny's team doing this year?
Sure.
And could you imagine how that person would felt that, wow, he remember my son's name Johnny and he plays baseball and he knows that's important, and it gets them talking about their kids. Now, I want to caution you right there on that moment. It gets them talking about their kids. It gets them feeling like, wow, he really does know me. Is it a trick? No, it's a tactic. And it's also demonstrating you care. So I'm constantly updating my notes with things that I remember, anniversaries, birthdays, things they like, things that they did. I pay attention to their LinkedIn profile. Um, LinkedIn is very, very important because you can see what they're doing professionally. If they get a promotion or if they wrote an article, comment on it,
Mhm.
but go above commenting. Pick up the phone and call and say, I really appreciated your article on the 7 metrics of a sales cycle, whatever it was they wrote. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I take my database very personally. I currently have 21,000 people in my database because
Okay.
I've done it so long. So
Okay.
I don't have 21,000 bits of information on everyone, but I do have them broken down into core. I have a VIP group. I have a J Mark Sphere of Influence group. And those people I know the most from. And guess what? I get the most referrals from them.
Sure. Yeah. Referrals are key right now. So,
Yeah.
is there a way? I liked how kind of said just a little while ago, you got to be confident in asking for the business.
Yeah.
I have a guy that, another leader in the business, and he gives a lot of referrals to any kind of asset manager, insurance agent, financial planner. He wakes up and starts his day and says, how many people can I write on this list and give 20 or 30 referrals to, and make introductions for people?
Right.
That's a tactic that I use today. I probably at least give 10 referrals a day on some of my people that are in my circles. You
Yeah.
don't know where that next deal is coming from. I'd love to hear about you on that topic.
Do me a favor. It just cut out. Say it one more time.
I'd love to hear that from you on the topic on is there what tactic are you using to ask for that referral in a certain way? Is it just straight up ask him in person on a phone call? Kind
Oh,
of.
absolutely. No, I'm very direct when it comes to that. And I don't do it on every call. For example, if I'm calling to congratulate them on something they did, um, I'll do that. But then maybe 4 or 5 days later, I'll pick up and call and ask them about it. Um, I'm very direct when it comes to referrals. I don't have a cheesy line. I just tell people I would appreciate an opportunity to help one of your friends. And so therefore I'm curious, and I pause. Who have you heard that's moving?
Yeah.
You know, if people are talking and say, "Hey, did you hear?" And see the look on my face just now. "Hey, did you hear the news?" No, what? Tell me what it is. What is it? People want to know. So I just flip it and say, "Hey, I'm curious. Who have you heard that's moving?"
Mhm.
Most of the time, they'll laugh. I see Brad there laughing at some of my jokes here. Um, Seriously, they'll laugh a little bit, and then I'll go, "No, I'm not kidding. I'm serious. Who have you heard?" Well, interestingly enough, and then I'll reach out to them, and that's how I got my listing yesterday.
Mhm.
Um, I heard that they were moving, and I shot him a phone call and said, "I heard you're moving, and I would love to help." And
Mhm.
he goes, "You know what, J Marks? I'm glad you called. We had just talked to another agent, but yeah, why don't you come over and talk to us as well?" Interestingly enough, I wasn't his first choice, but guess what? I'm now the choice.
That's great. That's what matters.
Got to put away the fear.
You and me, our power is on our phone, right? We
Yeah.
come from that. That's where my power is. That's where your power is. It's on that call.
Yeah.
So, but we do,
Being
but
well
I do,
regarded there.
there
Yeah.
you go. I do come across agents from time to time. I have some, on my team. I work with some that are, on the other side of the transaction and get to talking to them about some of their habits and their routines. I have some people that don't use the phone at all. They are try to shy away from it and say, I would rather take a more passive approach and do a door-to-door flyer and put a door hanger and send target a neighborhood with some postcards. Yeah, those are all great tactics, and that's all working if you track your dollar and you go above and beyond than just putting that card, but have it with the follow-up plan, have it with the follow-up call, make the door knocking. You're doing all these things to be in touch with that person. It always has to go back to the phone.
So you got to remember, the the people under 35 years old were raised in digital world. The people 36 to 46 were not, and the people my age, I'm in my mid 50s, we definitely were not. So people like me appreciate a phone call, appreciate some contact, some conversation, and you just got to remember. I'd like to give you an illustration if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
If I were to say to you, once upon a time, what just happened in your mind?
You are kind of getting ready to tell me a story.
Yeah, but it also piqued your interest, correct?
Did. Yep.
Yeah. So the same thing happens when you talk to someone who's used to the digital world. You ask them, tell me something. What have you seen lately that's really interesting? You get them to tell. So what I've discovered with younger people is I want to know what they know. Tell me what you've learned. Because one of the things that I've discovered, people between 25 and 35, is that they're not always counted as leaders. They're kind of dismissed. Oh, that's Gen Z, or that's millennials, or that's this, that, and the other. Instead, I'm like, wow, that's really awesome. Tell me more. So what I do with people in the younger price ranges, the younger age groups, I use the phrase "tell me more," and I got that from a book called "Exactly What to Say" by Phil Jones. Um, when you ask people to tell me more, it invites them to invite you into their world. It also invites them to invite you to learn more about what their needs are. And then it goes back to my core principle of the phrase "you matter." Anyway, that's a great book. I'll put a link up for it.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you. And thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing this, Mr. Schmooze. Now that I look at that, I'm excited to dive a little deeper and read some of these schmoozing tactics, because I've always heard in the past that, Mike, you really schmoozed your way into that deal. So I'm just curious to see if I can learn anything different and exciting from it. Myself, this week we had over the last week and kind of going in next week, we're wrapping up some of our one-on-one team meetings here at the office. And, I have heard, there are a couple team members that I kind of use, some tactics from Tom, and talked about the drunk monkey on my shoulder, talked about fear. And, one of the objections that were coming up that was, really kind of settling with some of our, newer agents was, hey, Mike, I just have this fear of rejection on the phone. I have this fear of, that second or third call coming in, and they can't use my services at the time. And they don't have a need for me, letting them know about, what I'm doing in the real estate. I just get hung up on and say, leave me alone. I love to speak about your fear of rejection and kind of what you do tactfully to kind of set your mindset right to be able to pick up the next phone and get on the next call and the next call. What is maybe your breakthrough moment? I know my breakthrough moments. I can tell you all of my breakthrough moments from when I got into the business. But what's something that time and time makes you just stronger on the next time you pick up the phone, and kind of just put off to the side those people that are kind of starting to draw out any kind of fear.
Yeah. If you're drawing fear, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Seriously, forget yourself and go to work. A famous church leader, President Hinckley, said in our church all the time, forget yourself and go to work. No, seriously, if you're experiencing fear, your head's in the wrong space. What are they going to do? Come into the office and punch you in the face? No, they're not. They're
Nope.
going to hang up on you. And guess what? Next. Seriously, if you need to walk around the block, go ahead, but only go a quarter of the way, and then get back in the office and pick up the phone and make another call. Bottom line, I'll be really frank with you. I'll be a sergeant like I was in the Army, and I'll just tell you to get over yourself and re-engage. You cannot waste time in fear and worry and being afraid and being sad. We don't need that. You're a real estate professional. You are good at what you do. And here's the thing I want you to remember. Now I'm going to pause. You have something to offer. You legitimately care at the same time that you want a paycheck. Combine those and earn your paycheck by demonstrating you care. And guess what? Not everyone's going to choose you, and it's okay. Next. Not everyone likes chocolate ice cream. I don't understand those kind of people, but not everyone likes chocolate ice cream. If you don't like chocolate ice cream, I don't want your business. Go with someone else. Seriously, you got to get over yourself. What do you think, Brad? You good with that?
Yeah, I'm totally good with that. I agree. You just gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
Keep moving. You can't dwindle on the past. You just gotta look for the future.
Yeah.
You got to, yeah. And thanks for calling out on Brad J. Like that's someone that I'm just, just extremely proud of on the last few years that I've got to work with Brad and kind of see him really step out to a little shell that was there, but step into being this leader on the phone. When you're on the phone and you're engaging, like for me, my breakthrough moments are the wins when I was getting no, 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 yes, no,
Yeah.
no, no, yes, yes. And those wins started kind of really turning into, a $300,000 deal, a $500,000 deal, $1 million deal, a
Yeah.
$5 million deal, a $10 million deal.
Yeah.
And some of the calls that you've lined up and scored for yourself, Brad, just over the last few weeks on what you have in your pipeline, there are agents that would kill to have what you have in your pipeline right now. And it's kind of leading us into new segments of the market. I'm gonna call out Brad and say he's going to be like the new cowboy of our real estate team. For the number of horse property deals that this guy has in his back pocket, I mean these are $5, $10 million, $15 million ranches. So super proud of the agent that Brad has become over the years. It's the
Thank you.
repetition. He shows up. He's on the phone. He's excited to be here.
Yeah. And also, sorry, Brad, we're just gonna pick on you today. I echo what he said because I've been watching you and I know you from church and we have a lot of the same friends. And also, Brad and I recently did a deal together and it was a
Yep.
smooth deal. It went really, really well. And so you're a good pro, buddy. So you
Thank
need
you.
to tell the world about, and that's another thing. I have another book. It's called by Donald Miller. It's about your story brand marketing by Donald Miller. If you are as a real estate agent and you go, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, then you've just lost it. Instead, you should say, this home, when you walk in, you literally take a step back in the past as if you've walked into a holiday gathering at grandma's house. This home here, this house over here on Maple Street, it has a wall of windows in the back of the home that lets in light, and it feels like a summer day. Do you see the difference in describing something? So Your Story Brand Marketing by Donald Miller is a great book that I think you should read because it helps you change your language. And also, Brad, because of all your experiences you're gaining over the last, by the way, Brad, how many years in the business?
Just over 3.
Just over 3.
Yep.
Okay. You have the production of about a 15-year agent, by the way, just so you know. So you really do. Normally people at 3 years don't sell as many homes as you do. And so you're to be commended for that. But the
Thank you.
cool part is now you have stories. And if
Yep.
you're a brand new agent watching this and you don't have any experience, then just change your story to the word my team or my company or a colleague of mine. A colleague of mine just recently, participated in, a man I work closely with said, and then engage your story. People love that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, hey, I wanted to kind of go on to, as we're talking about our own tactics and things that are, really, really relevant in the market that we have. Again, we are both in our market. I really do see things as really this pent up demand over the last year and a half, 2 years. And we're all starting to get excited on some of the activity that we're starting to see engage back in our market specifically. I want to kind of see if we can maybe go to some of the folks that are on the call, if there's something that is bothering them, if there's something that they want to learn from, if there is a story that they want to tell and kind of, learn how to overcome, something currently going on in their life. Would that be okay, Jay?
Yeah, sure. Fire away. We have about 2 minutes, right?
Sure. Yeah. We got about 10 minutes to go, kind of just leaving it up. Anybody that's on the call, Luann, Brad, let's see who we have here.
Welcome to Dr. Phil.
Yeah, so Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
Don, Chris, Sharon, Morgan, anybody on the call, just type in the chat, anything that's kind of that you're seeing in the market that you would like a different perspective on what to say or do differently, or how to overcome something that maybe you're struggling overcoming. We'd love to be a resource for you if we can. Or if you just had a question about Jay, the man, the legend, the myth, he's finally here.
Yeah.
So
I like my steak medium rare, grilled to perfect, and yeah.
Hey Jay, it's Luann.
Hey, Luann, how's Howard doing?
He's doing awesome. He's up there in Eagle Creek selling new homes for Union, Maine.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, I got one for you that I've run into a couple of times. I've run into a couple of potential listing clients that have told me they've decided to go with a different agent because they sell more homes than anyone else in this particular neighborhood. Now, I want to explain to them that doesn't mean they have a set of buyers that the rest of us don't have. Somehow they believe that means they can sell more because they have a different group of buyers and can reach more buyers than the rest of us. And we all know that's not true. So I'm trying to determine the best way to combat that.
My clarifying question is, have they already moved on, or are they telling you they're considering?
That's when they tell me they've made a different choice because that specific realtor has sold more homes than anyone else in that particular neighborhood.
So, okay, so in my opinion, I think you should probably qualify your appointment a little more and ask at the onset if they're interviewing other agents so that you are better prepared. And one of my favorite things to do when I compete against someone who sells more homes than me, which is very few people.
Of course.
Anyway, no, but when that does happen, or if their team is bigger than mine, I like to focus on personal attention. Do you want to be able to get a hold of me personally, quickly, and directly? And I can do that because you're not a number. Have you ever had a wonder or worry that maybe you would just be a number when you see a team that big? Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, well, that time's like this time. Instead, this is my personal cell phone number. I will be personally orchestrating everything and can deliver the same results and maybe even better because I will not be taking my attention off of your home. Isn't that what you want?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, a tie down would be, isn't that what you want? At the very end of
I love that, Jay. That was great.
Thanks. Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, there's some really good tie downs. The phrase, doesn't that make sense? Isn't that what you want? The word right, sound good, things like that. You can tie the end of a question or end of a phrase. It'll get them into agreement. Has there ever been a time when you're sitting in front of someone, you really feel good about them, and you decide, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take care of this, Okay, let's do it.
I love that.
Just ask them for the order.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something else that has helped. I got told no at a listing appointment recently. Said no, we're just gonna think about it. And I said, okay, no problem. But I just have one more thing I'll say and I'm putting away my things. And I said, if I was in your home showing it right now, and someone said they really liked it, but they wanted to go home and think about it, would you want me to let them walk out the door, or would you want me to maybe politely ask one more time? And they always said, well, politely ask one more time. And I said, okay, good. Will you list your home with me tonight? And they're like, whoa, you just did that. 50% of the time, they signed right there on the spot.
I like that, actually. That's cool.
Yeah. If I was in your home and this happened, what would you? Anyway, it's about being real, Michael and guys. And I'm actually kind of glad there's 9 people here instead of 80. I like a smaller group, so we can actually talk and be together. I hope this has been a helpful visit today.
Oh, it's been a great visit, Jay. And man, just so excited about not only, where you're at in your journey, but most importantly, real estate aside, just being personal, so excited that you are here with us, the value that you bring, not only as a person to everyone around you, as a leader, but to everybody in this industry, man. You are just a force to reckon with.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Thank you, because I got kicked in the stomach pretty hard this year. But to all the people out there wondering, it's gonna be big.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be big.
Seriously, I got plans, Jack, for 2024, and I cannot wait till Christmas. It's gonna be fun. I have recognized my limitations. I've been brought to my knees, and I'm sufficiently humbled, if you will, with my health. I'm taking things more serious. Got my priorities straight. We got all my estate planning documents in order. So should I have another incident and pass away, I'm 100% ready to go. But I've got a lot of life left to live and a lot of people I want to bless. And so I just want you to know that as sure as you see me in front of you, I'm going to be doing my fair share plus some, and I'm going to help as many people as I can.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, I'll leave you with this because I kind of knew you from way back when. are you looking for a co-host of the Foodie Friday show? Because you need to bring that back. I haven't seen it in a while. I remember
Yeah.
you from back in the day. You know, I'm a chef, right? That's my background.
So, sorry, I just moved my mic. No, we're actually filming an episode tomorrow at
Are you
local
really? Cool.
Flower Mound. Yeah.
Cool.
We did take a couple months off. We've been running reruns for a little bit, but no, we're coming right back tomorrow. We start filming again.
You need to get to Tycoon. Tycoon is where you
Tycoon.
need to get to.
We did Tycoon once, but I'm gonna go back because they've made some menu changes and very good
Okay.
food.
Okay. Yeah, really good food.
Hey, what,
Well,
Michael? Let's do this.
Yep,
At the
go
end
ahead.
of this year, let's you and me go eat there and celebrate our success. What do you say?
Let's do that. Let's do that.
All right,
I'm
we'll
in.
bring Brad, make him pay.
Okay.
All right.
Rock
Hey,
and
I'll
roll.
be making it too, so we'll be good.
Good, good.
Very
All
good,
right.
man. Well, hey, I appreciate you jumping on this, Jay. Really means a lot. And man, have a powerful finish to your week. Give it everything that you can, my friend.
Seriously,
Thanks,
go get him right.
Jay.
Bye. Thank you. Honored.
Thanks, Jay.
Hey, buddy. Thanks, buddy.